In this video, we're going to compare the Acura Integra to the Mercedes CLA. And you might think, but hey, these are not even in the same category. Well, in fact, they kind of are. They're both four-door and they both sit $2,000 apart, with the Integra starting at $37,000 and the Mercedes CLA just $2,000 more at about $39,000. We're going to have a look at the front, side, rear, and the interior, and I'm going to let you know exactly what I think about these cars and which one I would actually buy with my own money. So the Integra is powered by a 1.5 liter inline 4, putting out 200 horsepower, which is not bad. It comes also with a manual transmission, which is fantastic. The Mercedes is powered by a 2 liter inline 4, putting out 221 horses. Now let's have a look at this design, because there is so much to talk about when it comes to this. Specifically, I mean, the Integra. I have a lot to say about this. I made a redesign on this because it was clearly necessary, as you can see, and I'm going to put that up right here. But the Integra, I'm not sure what's going on here with Acura and what they were thinking. I'm going to talk more about that throughout this video. Let's have a look at the front end of the Integra. To me, it doesn't look special at all. It's a clean looking design, don't get me wrong. But if we're gonna have the nameplate Acura Integra on a car, put some more effort into making it a special car and not just looking like your grandma's Integra. That's just my opinion. But let's have a look at what's going on here. We have some graphic features, pretty typical Acura grille right here in the front end. Looks pretty decent. It's nothing wrong with this. And then we have the lower part, and this is where it gets a little tricky for me, at least, because we have this graphic right here, and I feel like this piece of the graphic, this side intake right here, which I hope is functional, it feels like it's kind of out of place in regards to the rest of the graphics. So what I mean by that is, look, have a look at how the lines go right here in the front end. We have this piece going in the bottom, and then it stretches out, and we have the parallel line, creates a very kind of static looking design, and then it kind of crashes right in, bam, in. This is two explosions right here, where these lines crashes into this graphic features. And I think this could have been done more smoothly and in a better transition between these two pieces. For example, have the same, you see this angle right here on this thing? Why not create some angle on the other end of this graphic as well? Just having it being like this would make it such a small little change, but still a massive improvement in my opinion, because now it feels like these two graphics are actually belonging to each other, and I think that's the problem in this specific area of the Acura Integra. Other than that, I think it looks pretty decent. I mean, you have the Acura LED daytime running lights here with this check mark as we're used to seeing in other Acura models. We also have some nice sculpting on the hood right here. I really like this center line that goes and cuts into the very center of the hood, and then of course being the same on the other side right there. Now let's have a look at the Mercedes. This is the Edition 1 Mercedes, and I really like the styling of this car. I do like that we have the Edition 1 little splashes of color on the wheels and in the lower part of the graphics. And I've talked about this Mercedes grille before, this new one that's kind of inverted. We have these lines going in this angle instead of what we've seen throughout the 2000s and 2010s. And some up to 2020 as well, when we have this outline being more elegant and almost like a smiley face instead of a frowning face. But I think this style really works in the Mercedes CLA, and I'm not 100% sure why it works better in the CLA than it does in the E-Class and the C-Class, for example. Let me show you kind of what I mean here. Up here we have the CLA, middle we have the C-Class, down here we have the E-Class. I think it has to do a little bit with maybe the styling of the headlights. They're a bit more stylized. As I've said before, the smaller the car, the more fun you're gonna have as a designer. That's basically our rule. The higher up in the bossiness and the luxury department you go up the scale of a car brand, for example, 7 Series, the S-Class need to be more restrained than the CLA and the 3 Series, for example, the 1 and 2 Series. I think they did a good job with this front end. We also have this dip here in the grille right here that we don't have at least not as pronounced in the C-Class and the E-Class. Looking at the C-Class right here, it's almost a small little continuous curvature, but nowhere near as stylized as the CLA. And it looks pretty good on the C-Class, but the further down the line we go, down to the E-Class right here, it becomes more and more blobfish. The E-Class just doesn't look good with this inverted grille. I think the E-Class would benefit from having, I think this is, the E-Class is big enough and luxurious enough that it doesn't need this upside down grille. I would like to have the same kind of grille that we have on the S-Class, where we have the more traditional end points or angles in the ending of the grille in the E-Class. But the C-Class and the CLA specifically work really well with this angle. Imagine being able to sketch anything you want with pen and paper and get the proportions and perspective right every single time. That's what I teach my students inside my online course, Analog Designer Pro Pack. You learn everything from what basic tools to use in your sketching, how to get the perspective right using my unique cloud sketching technique, and how to nail the proportions of your car and product sketches by implementing something I call the box sliding technique. These classes have helped thousands of students all over the world quickly improve their sketching, and once you go through the course and actually take it step by step, you'll be able to see your own sketching skills shoot up to a new level. So click the link in the description or go to analogdesignerpropack.com to see everything you get access to inside, and check out the results my students are getting by implementing these techniques. And as a bonus, I'll even walk you through my 2 portfolios that got me into a master's degree in automotive design in Italy, and also landed my first job as a designer. It's priceless if you're looking to become a professional designer. So click the link below or go to analogdesignerpropack.com today to learn more. I'll see you on the inside. So let's have a look at the side view here of the Integra and the CLA. Starting with the Integra, have a look at this. You can clearly see that this is just a little bougie Honda Civic hatchback. We have this line cutting in to the body, going all the way into the front bumper, which is pretty cool. And we have this hatchback design, as you can see, going down, not a clear sedan shape in the rear end, which is functional. You're gonna get a lot more luggage space in there, but who cares if you're buying an Integra? You're not gonna think about how big the opening of the trunk is. So I would personally have it more like I did in the redesign, more of a 3-box design instead of this hatchback design. And it feels like they just had to slap the Integra graphics on here to make sure there's no mistaking that this is an Integra, because if they don't have this sticker on here, this could be, as I said, any other Acura out there. Same here, it doesn't look bad, but I'm just a little disappointed in Acura for not putting in more effort, and it honestly feels like a lazy Integra revival just looking at the design. And I think that's why they had to make it look a little younger and just slap some stickers on there and call it a day. Now looking at the Mercedes is still a very clean, elegant looking design. The thing with designing a CLA in this size of a sedan, it's not easy, because think about this. This greenhouse right here, it needs to fit the same amount of people as an S-Class. And unfortunately, today we don't have the technology to shrink people, so we still need to have the greenhouse being pretty much this similar size to the S-Class. It's gonna obviously be a little smaller, but people are still gonna be the same sizes, so we need to fit 4 adults in here. And at the same time, we need to shrink the overall package, meaning that we're gonna have less space to stretch out these lines and make it a beautiful, gorgeous sedan. And I think this is a very hard thing to do, but at the same time, Mercedes did a fantastic job with the CLA. I think this is probably the best looking small sedan. I like the previous generation Audi A3 as well. I think they also nailed smaller sedan packages. This has some clean lines to it. It doesn't have any complexities to it. Looking at the rear before we have a look at the interior, and you know, just look at this Integra, how boring it looks. I'm just gonna be completely honest here with this design. It just doesn't look special at all. They had to stamp in the Integra right here on the bumper to make sure, again, that the people know that this is supposed to be a special car, but even though it doesn't look like it, we have a lot going on right here. Not bad at all, but still, it's the same thing here. It doesn't look special enough. Then we have this dip down here that kind of houses the rear lights and the rear graphics, and a pretty normal looking diffuser down here. Nothing too over sporty or over special, and silver is definitely not the color I would go with if I bought an Integra. It makes it feel like a slap in the face to the original Integra. Looking at the CLA down here, not a massive fan of Mercedes' rear ends these days. I kind of feel like they feel a little weak. The plantedness of Mercedes sedans these days, specifically the CLA and the S-Class, they feel a little weak because of the narrowness of the rear end and also this slope that we have in this angle that we have in the rear end trunk. It just doesn't feel solid enough, but at the same time it works better on the CLA than it does on the S-Class. The S-Class is supposed to be the big brother, and I think that definitely needs more structure to the rear end. I made a redesign on that on the Sketchbank if you want to go and check that out as well. But on the CLA it looks pretty good. And I do like these taillights. They have some more structure to it and also resemble a little bit of the front end graphics like we have right here comes back in the taillights as well. We do have this air outlet that's probably not functional on the CLA. That's basically on every single Mercedes these days. It's just kind of a trademark that they put a fake vent right there in that position. And as I've talked about before, wheels. These wheels are gorgeous. I love the design of these wheels. Mercedes, as I've said before as well, makes some of the best looking wheels in the business at the moment. So let's have a look at the interior last but not least before I let you know which one I would buy, which I think you can kind of get an idea of already, but let's have a look at the interior right here. This also has a lot of inspiration from the Honda Civic. As you can see, we have the same kind of outlets going in a horizontal line right there. I do like this interior. We do have the manual shifter right here, as you can see, very good. We do have an iPad stuck on the dash. Doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't look too great either in my opinion, but it does have a bit of an angle to it, so you're not gonna have a lot of glare, I guess. Then we have a fully digital gauge cluster in the right in front of the driver. The steering wheel looks pretty good as well. This design of the steering wheel looks a little dated in my opinion. They could have made something cooler with this specific section right here. But overall, it's an Acura Integra, but I do feel like Mercedes did, when I look at these interiors, these don't even feel like they're in the same price range. Yes, the Mercedes is a little bit more expensive by $2,000, but looking at this, does this feel like there's a $2,000 difference here? To me, it feels more like $10,000 when you look at the Mercedes interior and the Acura Integra interior up there. We have a lot of circles going on in the Mercedes. Circles pretty much everywhere you look in this interior, which is interesting, and it creates a very unique interior for Mercedes. You can see that we have the iPad slapped here, the full long curved iPad slapped on the dash, but it kind of works in the Mercedes CLA here. It looks pretty good. I'm not sure about this though, the steering wheel cutting into the visibility of this screen, of the navigation screen. That's something that I have to analyze when I'm driving a CLA. So I don't really mind the iPad on the dash in the CLA. Then we have these beautiful details, these solid buttons that we have on the side of the steering wheel, and this finish, aluminum or something, brushed aluminum finish with these shifting pedals sticking out right here behind the steering wheel. I think it's a gorgeous looking interior, but now, which one would I buy? Would I buy the Acura Integra for $37,000, or would I buy the Mercedes CLA for $39,000? Honestly, I wouldn't buy either of these. I would save $10,000 and go with a Honda Civic Si manual with the sedan shape in the rear end.